Hello, everybody. We need a camera here. It's the dark, black void. Where is the camera? Hello. Where is the camera? Well, there's that camera, which is the wrong one. This is why we shouldn't just run up here with 10 seconds left trying to do a live, everybody. Let's see here. Can I get that guy to work? And there it is. We did it. What's up, all the buddies? All the buddies. I probably told that story before, but I'm adjusting the lighting. This is my lighting here. See how it's too warm? I look a little red. It's because of the color temperature of my lights. Look at that. See, that's getting cooled down a little bit. Let's cool that one down. There it is. Look at that. That's a much better color. Let's turn it up a little bit. Yeah, it's video production day here at Intent Company Live. Look at that. See that? See how the color changes? Got a little cool over here. That one's a little warm. Yes. Welcome, everybody, to another Impromptu Intent Company Live. It is February 21st. I'm Billy Robbins. Aren't you excited? I'm excited. My team was freaking out a little bit. I ran down to get tea because I have a sore throat, and we kind of hopped on last minute if you couldn't notice. Really excited because today we're going to talk about 9-ish things that you can do to drive brand awareness. You might be asking, why 9-ish? Well, because whenever I do these lists, I either end up adding or subtracting things. So it's going to be around 9, give or take, and it's going to be great. Before we dig in, so brand awareness, right? What are we going to talk about? Well, you know what? I'll save the whole spiel for a minute. Let's do this. Since you are watching this and obviously very impressed with our level of professionalism, lighting, timeliness, and the overall effort and character we apply to this great content, do us a favor.
Hey guys, welcome back, and make sure to smash that like button, subscribe, and make sure to hit that bell for notifications.
That's right. If you can't do it for me, do it for that guy. Do it for that guy. We got maybe we need to shut those doors. Sounds like we got some. You can trust us here at Intent Company. We are going to take care of you. Let our video production quality be a testament to the type of production and quality you're going to get here at Intent Company. That's right. But you know what? We're doing 75 lives. This stuff happens. You know what I mean? When you commit to kicking inconsistency in the teeth, when you commit to doing it, you know what? You might still be in your workout clothes. Who cares? You might be getting tea with 5 seconds left before. The camera might not work, and your daughter might be hacking a lung in the other room. It doesn't matter. We're here to make it happen. Are you as pumped as I am? We're pumped. We're pumped up in here. We're doing it. We're doing it. We're doing it. 75 lives. What number are we on? 25, 26, 27, 28. That's right. This is what you get. 28 times of doing it. This is the level of perfection that we have stepped into around here in number 28. You are welcome. So, like, share, subscribe, do all the stuff. Get it out there. People need to hear this message. Oh, it's been a week, guys. Let me tell you. You know what? We're here. It's been a great week. You know, it's been great. Everything's going well. Everything's excellent. It's fantastic. It has never been better. It's true. It's true. How's your day going? How's your week going? I need some back and forth. I need like a live studio audience. Yeah. I do. I got 3 amazing team members here that just kind of make faces at me when I go in rants. But, you know, I need a live studio audience. Oh, what happened to my, that was the old software we were using. I had a different software that we were using where you could have like the audience claps and stuff like that. We need to figure out how to get that for here. I need to be able to push a button and, you know, get some applause, get some laughter. Chels, figure that out. Figure that out, Chels. We need to do that. The people need it. The people need that level of amazingness. I mean, if you're watching this right now, you must be super impressed, and you want to figure out, how could I watch this every day? Well, I'm glad you asked. 5 p.m. Central Time, Monday through Friday, 10 Company Lives. Boom. It's going to be amazing. And since you're super impressed with just the overall video content and everything, you'll probably want to buy one of our products. Well, now you can for 90% off. Focus and Fire Workshop. That's right. Only $200. That's right. It's amazing. And we're going to give all the money to Feed the Hungry, which is really cool. So you want to do that too. And you want to follow us on social media because you want to get this level of amazingness everywhere. That's right. When you open up Instagram, boom. Facebook, boom. LinkedIn, boom. Twitter, X, whatever it's called, boom. We're there. Check it out. And then download some of our cool tools. Customer Journey Assessment, join our Intent Company group, and the Wow Campaign Blueprint. Yes, I'm going fast through the announcements. Why? Because you can only suffer so much watching us. So we're going to limit that pain. I don't even mean pain. This is great. You get to partake. You get to be a part of what we're doing. It is fantastic. And excuse me. That's why I got the tea. Didn't want you to keep hearing that. We're going to go over 9-ish ways you can generate brand awareness. So you might even be thinking, brand awareness, like, what do you mean brand awareness? Well, I'm glad you asked that question too. Before we dive in here, I'm going to do something like this for all 4 phases of the customer journey. But if you've been watching our lives, you probably see me share this part a lot, and it's very important. It's literally foundational to what we're doing. So you got to think in your business, your ability to persuade someone to pay you, to exchange their money for your products, for your services, and to do business with you, every single person must go through a process. Yeah, think about this. I know it sounds super obvious, but when you start to get this foundational principle in you, you're going to look at everything that you do from this lens. The first step is awareness, which is what we're going to talk about. Do I know you? Yeah, think about it. If no one knows that you exist, if no one knows that you solve the problems you solve, you have absolutely no ability to generate revenue, get a customer, do your thing, right? Awareness is absolutely imperative. After someone is aware that you exist, you got to figure out, do they like you? Affinity, right? Like you might have watched the opening of this and been like, I don't know about these guys. You were aware that I existed, but affinity was a little iffy, right? Hopefully we rebounded and now you're like, these guys aren't too bad. Well, then the next stage is available. Action, which means I believe you. And I always say that, like if you think about it, anytime somebody buys something from you for the first time, what they're basically saying is, I believe you can solve the problem that I have, and I'm willing to exchange this money to see if you can. And most businesses stay here. They just go awareness, affinity, action. Get a new person to know who I am. Hopefully they like me. Hopefully they buy something. And if you've been listening to us, you know that our whole thing is not about just getting a customer, but it's about turning them into a raving fan, which is advocacy, which means I trust you. Trust is earned, right? And so you can persuade someone to buy something, but by the way that you deliver, what you give them, the whole package, the whole experience, they either trust you or they don't, and then you get a chance to build referrals and reorders and all that other stuff, right? So if you actually think about it, all businesses, all of business, because even like the delivery of your product, service, that's going to affect your advocacy, everything. It's all kind of found wrapped up in here. But just let's say sales and marketing, you literally only have 4 problems to solve in order to have a massive, exploding, unbelievable business. You have to get the right people to know you exist, get them to like you, get them to believe you to buy, and then get them to be brand advocates, right? And you don't even need to do the fourth part. The fourth part will happen naturally if you do the first 3 pretty well. But you can really put an accelerator on it when you focus on delivering an amazing customer experience, and you really emphasize different advocacy techniques. It's like a multiplier, force multiplier on everything that you do. So in your business right now, you only have one most important problem. You either have an awareness problem, an affinity problem, an action problem, or an advocacy problem. So we're going to do these videos for each of these. But today we're going to talk about awareness. Okay. I know you. Now, one thing we talk about is that if you're very early, like on business, like you're literally just starting out, awareness is like, It's like one of the most difficult things that you could possibly do is to generate like net new, brand new, I've never heard of you, now I know you type, type advertising. It's very difficult. So even though you may have a new business, you might be thinking, oh my gosh, I have a new business. I really need to get like awareness. I need to get new people to know about us. It's actually not even the first place that you should start. You got to think like no matter if you've never had a business before at all, there's people who know you. Like open up your phone. You have contacts in your phone. You have people that follow you on Facebook. You have friends. You have family. These are people that know you. And actually that's like the first place to start really is with people that do know you. Cause that's like, think about that. Think about the stage. Even think about if you're like brand new. The first thing you do when you get going, the very first thing is you got to think about what relationships do I have that are the strongest? Like what people trust me already, right? Think about that. I know you, I like you, I believe you, I trust you. If people already trust you in other areas, maybe they worked with you in the past or they know your character, they know who you are, you can leverage that trust that you have and say, hey, you know what? I got this new thing that I'm working on. You mind taking a look at it? Let me know what you think. Do you think this is going to work? Is it something you're interested in? Do you know anybody who's interested? It's funny because you think you're starting off brand new and you're doing awareness, but you're actually doing advocacy marketing. And that's actually where you should start. You should start there. Then you go backwards. Who believes you, right? Who believes you enough? Do you have people that can believe you do it? Again, like, as we talked about yesterday, most people start businesses because they were doing it professionally for someone else. They said, hey, I can do this on my own. And in your relationship doing it professionally, hopefully you're not going and trying to steal customers from like your past employer. That would be not very ethical. Sometimes just by you leaving the organization, customers come to you. They wanted to work with you. They didn't work with the company you worked for. They wanted you. And so that naturally happens. But also there's probably past relationships, people you've met along the way, people that don't work with that employer anymore. And you can leverage that because you already have awareness and affinity and so on. So that's actually where you start. So, and then you should be getting referrals, all that stuff. But the act of getting a absolute brand new person who has no idea who you are, no clue who you are, to get their attention and to lead them into affinity marketing, right, to the affinity stage, is one of the most difficult things. And so I'm starting with awareness because I'm going to go kind of, I don't know if chronological is the right word, but I'm going to go left to right, whatever. I'm going to start with awareness, then affinity, then action, then advocacy. But it's almost not the order that you go into typically, depending on the type of business that you have or where you're at in your stage. You're usually going after advocacy first. So you're starting there. So awareness, net new, brand new people who don't know who you are. How do you get them to get your attention? Or how do you get their attention, right? To know who you are. So I'm going backwards. I should have done advocacy. But I've talked about advocacy marketing so much. So go watch those ones. Go check out the How to Double Your Revenue. That's a great one. We did all about this. But you almost shouldn't even do awareness level marketing until you have your advocacy dialed in, until you have like your ability to pitch business. Think about that, right? So if we go back to, let me go back to the slides here. Think about this. Let me get my laser pointer. Okay. So advocacy marketing is really all about how do I get the people who have bought from me to buy again and again, to leave positive reviews, give me referrals, right? So it's like this accelerator. So this is how your lifetime value gets really high. This is how you get a lot of, referrals are obviously the best type of people to come into you. They have trust, there's relationship, right? So if you've got customers, you got to get that thing dialed in first, right? Then you think about action. Well, what's action doing? It's like I have dialed in my ability to persuade someone to buy something from me. So even this stage is more important than awareness. Think about it. If let's say you're starting off and you focus on awareness first, if you get people to know that you exist, like you actually get people like, wow, yeah, I got a flood of people who know who I exist. And then you're like, you know what? Wow, they actually like me. And then they get on the phone with you and you do not have a well-developed sales process and pitch and offer and all the other things that go along with it, you're going to waste all that traffic. You haven't figured out how to convert the traffic yet. All right, so you got to figure out how to convert the traffic. You really got to focus here and here, get these dialed in, and then awareness and affinity are really like, they're very much linked together. Okay, so you really shouldn't be focusing too much on awareness marketing unless you understand advocacy, or at the very least you understand action. I know how to convert the traffic. Right? Then when you're bringing in new people, now you have a process, a detailed way to convert that traffic, and you can go from there. So that is my little pre-message before we even dive in on the idea of awareness marketing. Okay, awareness marketing, getting brand new people to know that you exist. There's two main buckets that awareness marketing lives in: paid. So I buy that attention, or earned. I earn that attention through various activities. Paid and earned, okay? Now, obviously, paid comes with a cost, a marketing cost, an advertising cost. So you got to be really good. Again, if you're buying a bunch of traffic, think of that thing we just talked about a second ago. If you don't have your conversion mechanisms in place, you don't have your sales process, your ability to convert, you don't have that dialed in, and you go and buy a bunch of traffic, you could buy a bunch of the right traffic, the right people, get them to you, and you literally burn through all of that opportunity because you didn't have your sales process in place, right? But if you do have your sales process in place, you've got a tested way to convert these people's attention, then a lot of that effort in the front, now you can measure and be like, okay, I spent X, I got this many calls, I made Y, it's profitable, I'm going to keep doing it. Or it's not, so I'm going to stop doing it, right? So you've got to deal with that dynamic. Okay, so let's talk about paid media. I'm not going to get into teaching you how to do it. I'm just going to talk to you about the different things that you can be focusing on in these areas, okay? So buying search traffic. So think Google, Microsoft. I'd actually even put YouTube in here, even though it's kind of like social traffic, which I'll talk about in a second. But YouTube is the second largest search engine behind Google in the world. So more people do searches for that. Now, you want to think about search marketing, okay? Now, search is interesting. You think about, you go to Google, you do a search, and there's listings that come up. So there's two main things going on. There's paid advertising at the top, right? You see the sponsored links, and then there's the organic, what we call SEO, right? So people don't go to paid search and they don't go to organic. They just go to Google and they do a search. But the what you do, how you measure, and how it impacted varies based on, which one of those two you're pushing on. So search traffic is very important because you got to think. Think again. Let's just back up again. This is like theoretical. I'm not getting into how to build an ad and how to like measure all that stuff. But if you get the foundation, if you get the theory right, you can do the other parts become a lot easier. So search advertising, like Google ads, again, Bing ads, things like that. What are you doing? You're taking a search term. So somebody's looking for something. Search. That search phrase you associate to an ad. That ad then has a promise. And then when they click on that ad, it goes to a landing page that then should be the fulfillment of that process. So to do paid search well, you got to figure out what's the intent of the keywords, right? What are they looking for? What's the word? And what's the intent of that? There's a lot of people that a lot of companies I've worked with that have lost a lot of money because they got intent wrong. So let me give you an example. Like, I worked with a really well-known running shoe manufacturer, like really well-known. And they sell running shoes. And there were some ads they were running when I started working with them, and they would have phrases like running shoes that they would be searching for, and they would take that running shoe, have an ad, click on this, and then it would go to a landing page so you could buy running shoes. Does that sound like a good idea right now? You might be thinking, well, of course that sounds like a good idea. They sell running shoes, they're doing a search for running shoes, and they provide running shoes. I'm pulling out my whiteboard right here. I feel a drawing coming on. So when you really take a thought about that, sorry, let me just get this here. So think about the running shoe analogy here. If someone does a search for running shoes, are they really looking to buy running shoes? If you were going to buy a pair of shoes and you do a search for running shoes, what are you looking for? I don't think you're ready to buy yet, because running shoes is such a vague term. How many different kinds of running shoes? Is it for track? Is it for cross country? Is it for this? Like, you think about it, you're so far away from what you are actually looking for. So that type of a term, running shoe, is actually a really great awareness level search term, because somebody is like totally unaware of what they want. But if you did that search and then you give them an ad of like, oh yeah, #1 rated running shoe, whatever, click here, and they click here and they go to a product page and there's like 12 different products to go there, you're actually going to get a very low conversion because nobody even knows what they're looking for. Do I want, again, marathon? Do I have pronation? Do I have this? Do I have that? So instead, what if when they clicked on the link, you sent them to a landing page that taught the people all about the different types of running shoes? Like, are you doing a 5K? Are you doing cross country? Are you doing track? Are you doing this? And you educated them. And then when somebody's like, oh yeah, actually I just want to do a 5K in 3 months, and they click a link, and then it goes to shoes that are like more well-rounded all around for like that type of running event, and then you put them into your sales process. That would actually work way better, because you're helping people get closer to what they want. Plus, if you send education content, you're actually helping build affinity. And then when you educate and they like you because you're the one who's taught them, and then they finally click and they go to the product page that has the 5 products that match them, they're going to have a higher propensity to buy. You've actually brought them from awareness, affinity, and action in one flow, one funnel. But if you jump too soon to action, like the buy now button, but they're actually at an awareness level term, you're going to have a mismatch. It's not going to work. Does that make sense? So you really got to figure out, like, what is the intent? Because typically when somebody searches, they search running shoes, and then they're like, oh, running shoes for a half marathon. And then they're like, oh, running shoes for people with pronation, or this or that. And they're going to get closer and closer. And then finally they're going to like do a search for the actual product that they want. So when you're buying search traffic, you really want to figure out, what is the intent? What are they really looking for? Are they looking for information? Are they looking for a quote? Are they looking for like this? Like, what's the heart of that intent? Then you want your ad to speak to that intent. Looking for a quote for blah, 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 click here. Because as soon as that ad that they have, when you do that keyword, it's probably not hooked up yet. It is not hooked up. Let's see if I can get it in there. And boom, there we go. All right. So you think about it, right? You got keyword. Probably spending too much time on this, on #1. Keyword. Think intent. What are they actually wanting? They do a search, and then they get an ad. And it's, words, maybe a picture, a video, something. It's an ad. Okay, well, what is that? This is your promise. You're promising, I get your intent, and the words that I use should be my proof that I know what you're looking for. And if you do a really good job of writing that ad and showing that you know what they're looking for, you get a click. And that click goes to a landing page. And that landing page needs to be the fulfillment of the promise. Right? So I promised you I know what you're talking about. When you click, I give you what you're looking for. Information, a form to fill out, a product listing, a video, or whatever. Again, this seems super rudimentary, but if you do this part really well and all of your ads live into this intent, promise, fulfillment kind of dynamic, you'll do amazing at search traffic. Okay? So the second is like it. It's social traffic. But in social traffic, we have a much bigger difference. Nobody's doing a keyword. There's no keyword involved. Nobody's doing a search. Well, what are they doing? Well, they're scrolling. Now, here's the other thing that's big about the difference between search and social. Search traffic, people on their own are doing the search. Think about the power of that. Someone on their own is looking for something. So they're initiating the process. You're not interrupting them, right? Most advertising is actually interruptive, right? So if you think about ads in general, right? If I got a magazine and I'm reading a magazine and I flip the pages, all of a sudden I hit a page that's just a full page ad. Well, I didn't buy this magazine to look at the ad, right? It's interruptive. TV, the little ad that plays in between Spotify or YouTube or whatever, they're interruptions, right? And so that is not what search is. Search marketing is somebody actually is looking for something, and then you're presenting your offer, your promise, if you will, okay? So when we're dealing with social media, right, think about you're scrolling on Instagram, you're just checking out your reels, and then all of a sudden there's a sponsored reel, right? So what is that? Well, it's a interest-based, right? So you're hopefully matching your ad according to the interests of other. Now, it still follows the same idea, interests. So you're still planning on finding their intent, but you're finding their intent not by what they are searching for, but by what they're interested in. So if they follow a lot of a certain group of people, if they follow or do something a lot, guess what? That's showing that if they like these people, they're probably interested in the type of thing that we have to offer. So then what you're doing is you're making a promise, basically saying you're making an offer that I have something, I promise I have something that would be interesting to this type of people. And some people are going to be interested, some people aren't. But the same logic applies here. Your ad creative must match your landing page fulfillment. There has to be a connection between these two. But it's much different in the front end because you're dealing with interest versus keywords. See, I said I wasn't going to get too much in the weeds, and I gave myself a whiteboard. So think about that, though. You got to match the interest. You got to match the intent. So buying social traffic, buying search traffic are very powerful ways of doing it. And again, with all of these, but those specifically, highly, highly, highly measurable, right? So I spent $1,000. I got 200 clicks. Those 200 clicks turned into 50 landing page visits. Those 50 landing page visits turned into 10 people who filled out the form. Out of the 10 people that filled out the form, 3 people got on the phone with me, 1 person closed, and I make $10,000 per sale. I spent $1,000, made $10,000, 10 to 1 in return, which would be amazing for paid search. But you see the whole journey, and so it's really clear. So you look at all those markers and you adjust, right? So if you look at our live we did on optimization, that will give you some more insight on that. Okay, so buy traffic, buy search traffic, buy social traffic. Okay, the next thing I want to talk about that are paid media would be like affiliate marketing and or influencers. Okay. You think about with the paid, what you're basically doing is you are tapping into someone else's network with money to try to capture attention of that network. Google has a network, right? People, if you think, I don't want to get down that road too much, but everything Google does, Google Maps, Google Drive, Gmail, all that stuff is just so that when somebody wants to do a search, they use Google. And so by them providing all of those tools for free, they get so many people on Google doing searches that then they leverage that network of searches by selling advertising to businesses, right? So massive amounts of people, and that you get to tap into their network by searches. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, whatever. Massive amount of people there. You get to tap into their network, put an ad, and you're buying for attention in their network, right? So affiliate marketing, influencers, very similar. With affiliate marketing, you are tapping into someone else's network. We'll use influencers. They're very similar. Affiliate marketing, influencers, what have you. But an influencer is more of like somebody on a social network. An affiliate marketing could be like an email list or so on, right? Like let's say that you are in let's say you sell cars. Okay, you sell cars, and there are newsletters out there, or even like a Blue Book, Kelly Blue Book, and those kind of things, right? You can put an ad like on their page, and that's more of like a click ad, kind of similar to like affiliate marketing. But let's say they have an email list, right? Well, you could go and say like, listen, I want to get on your email list, and I want you to put my ad on that email list, and I could either do it by click, right? So every time somebody clicks, I pay you. That would be like a pay per click, or there's pay per performance, which basically that's what most affiliate marketing influencing is. So that when somebody purchases that product, I'm going to give you X% of the profit back, right? And so you can do it two different ways, but you're basically, what are you doing? You're tapping into someone else's list. So if you're trying to get some attention, who are the people in your industry that have a massive list, email list, network, what have you, or social influencers? You're dealing with people that have a massive social media following. How could you create some kind of partnership? How could you do something with them that then you throw your product mix out? When people buy, you're giving that person back. Now, some influencers typically so affiliate marketing is going to be more pay per performance. Influencers are going to be more like they want your money, right? Now, you're tapping into someone else's audience. So you are interrupting, right? People get emails from certain people because they want certain content. You're an interruption. People want to follow certain influencers for a reason. Even your sponsorship, your ad with that influencer is still interruptive. So you got to make sure, again, that you have the right offer and you're tracking the dollars. And I'm not super impressed with most like influencer marketing. Like they got to be usually a pretty legit influencer with a market, because you got to think it's all about intent. Okay. The higher the intent match, the better the performance. So for instance, if I do a search and I'm doing a search for, I don't know, we just talked about auto, right? Auto used car dealership near me. And you are 3/4 of a mile away from the person who did the search. And you have rank signals that show you're reputable, because you actually have like a 4.5 star rating for a used car dealership. That'd be amazing, right? So like people like you, and you're right down the street. I literally am looking for that very thing, and you're right there, and you match all my criteria. You're going to have a very high percentage of people that are going to go and act on it because it matches the intent. Now, if people watch a social media thing because they think they're funny or they think they're whatever, and then at the end of the videos, you recommend, hey, this video is sponsored by blah, blah, blah. Check out blah, blah, blah. It's like, well, I don't follow that person to figure out what products he likes. Now, it may be interesting and I may actually act on it, but you're going to get a very low percentage of activity because you're not really matching the intent. The intent of the person in that medium is to have a certain result, and you're interrupting. Does that make sense? So you got to make sure that the numbers still work out, right? I have to pay X influencer this. I'm getting this traffic. I get this conversion, I get this revenue. Everything needs to be measured. I am partial to paid advertising that produces profitable results. And for each business and for each situation, it's different. Different things going to work out, and that's why you got to be willing to test. You got to be willing to test. But if you're going to just throw money at something and you're not actually measuring what works, like you don't actually have the numbers, you're just going to waste it. And you got to be able to see it in the numbers, right? All right. The fourth thing I want to share for paid media are sponsorships. And sponsorships are kind of similar to affiliate marketing influence, but what you're actually doing is you're getting attention typically at an event, right? And again, this is another one of those things that doesn't match the intent really well, right? You go to every event you go to a sporting event, you go to a conference, you go to a chamber of commerce event, like any kind of event, you're going to find people that paid for you to see who they are, right? And so, again, it's not the intent of people. Conferences may be a little bit more, especially like trade shows, things like that, like when they have like vendors and booths and things like that. People are going there to kind of figure out and see and look around. But that's another way where you're actually leveraging. If you think about it, that's what a conference is. You guys all been to conferences. Your favorite conference, your industry conferences. The conference is basically designed where I'm going to put together an event. I'm going to get speakers so that a lot of people want to come to it. And then since I have a lot of attention of people, I'm going to then sell booths, sponsorships, ads, various types of things to businesses that want to sell to those people. That's literally all a trade show, all a conference is. So anytime you go to a conference, you're literally just, you're paying money to go to an event to get sold stuff, right? And then the exchange is hopefully I meet enough of the right people, I hear enough of the right speaker. I'm not against conferences, but that's how it's set up. That's the whole mechanism. So you're tapping into the attention, the network of the event for financial gain. So again, you got to do the math. And that's why some of these things are kind of like harder to measure, like a sponsorship, like if you get your banner somewhere, like how do you track if that works? Well, you might need an offer. You might need to throw a QR code that's special or have a phone number or some kind of website that's completely unique to that type of marketing. So you can say, hey, I spent $4,000 on this sponsorship. I got X amount of people that came. Boop, 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 boop. You do your math. Does it work? Great. If it works, do more of it. If it doesn't work and it's kind of like it kind of worked but didn't really work, could I tweak it to make it better? If it completely bombed, you know what? Go try something else, right? So get your numbers, okay? So there's lots of different ways to get awareness, but those are 4 or 5, so I said ish, 4.5-ish ways that you can use paid media to get brand new, net new awareness and attention. Okay, let's go on to earned media. So what does earned mean? I would say this, you always pay for your marketing. Either you pay to tap into somebody else's or you create your own. Okay, so the most obvious earned media today for brand new net awareness would be like social media. Well, let me say, not all social media. So you got to think about how social media works, right? So just take the typical social media sites. Your content that you post only gets shared to the people who follow you. And it's not even the whole percentage, right? You get 50,000 followers, you send it off, it's like 5,000 saw it or whatever. That's a fraction, okay? So somebody who already follows you on social already knows you exist. They're already past the awareness stage, right? So how do you use social media then to get somebody that has no idea who you are to be aware you exist? There's really only one thing you can do right now, and that's Reels. So all platforms that have Reels, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, the shorts on YouTube, all the channels. Reels are the only thing that actually presents you in front of somebody else. So think about it. If you go on Instagram, you're flicking, you're only seeing people that you follow. And then you see a reel that's interesting. You click on it, you get the audio, you're watching it. Haha, that's amazing. Then now you're in the reel mode. You even see it because you don't see the text anymore, right? It's like as soon as you click on it, you're like, bloop, you're in the reel mode of Instagram. As soon as you flip up, you're going to see a reel from somebody that you don't know. The remaining of the reels are now interest-based, and Instagram's going to show you to new creators, content creators that are relevant to your history and hope that you like them. And then you watch the thing, you're like, oh, I've never heard of this guy. Oh, that's pretty cool. And then you hit follow, and now they're in your network, right? So if you want to get brand new awareness of people that don't know about you yet in social media, you've got to focus on reels. And Chelsea, I did a thing on the macro to micro strategy, didn't I? Yeah. So there's we've done like 30 of these things. I forget what I talked about. Oh, good. Chelsea's posting links. So I did one on the macro to micro strategy. Check that out. That's a really solid strategy for how to like produce a lot of reels without a lot of effort. So reels and social media are really, no pun intended, well, kind of, really the only way to get new awareness in the social media, right? The rest of it is kind of nurturing the community that you already have, right? Now, other examples to that would be advocacy marketing, which is when people who do like you actually share your content with their network, right? So that is an earned thing, but that's more advocacy. That means an advocate, somebody who really likes you, who wants to promote you, is sharing your content with their network. that does get awareness, but that's the power of advocacy, where somebody's advocating on your behalf. So that means you're not doing the work, they are. That's the power of advocacy. See, advocacy is what brings it full circle. It's from awareness, affinity, action, advocacy. Advocacy actually promotes more awareness and more affinity. So by you marketing to your current customers and equipping them, they're actually filling, which I'm jumping because that was my last point, but I gave it away. But advocacy, marketing is what also creates awareness. So next one we'll talk about is SEO, search engine optimization. So we talked about paid search, intent-driven keywords, which is your buying traffic. SEO is earned because you've put in the work and the effort to make your site so relevant that when people are doing that search, you show up organically, all right? Now, if somebody did a search for your brand name, right? If somebody goes to Google and searches for intent company, and I show up number one organically, that's not awareness. Why? Because they know my name already. They already know our brand. So obviously if they're searching for our brand, they already know who we are. It's somewhere else in the process. It's either affinity or action or advocacy, right? But if someone does a search for advocacy marketing, and then some of our content pops up, well, they don't know who I am, but then boom, there we are for advocacy marketing. Wait, who are these guys? What's the story they tell? Oh, that's interesting. How about that? Now we've gleaned that. This is super important with local. Local SEO is super important because it's powered by the Google, not powered by, but Google Maps is really influenced with local search. So again, that example of used car dealer near me, that's going to be a Google Map listing that comes up because it's also tied to a location, right? So if you're doing anything like service-based, home services, personal services, you start looking for HVAC and plumbing and hair and this and that, it's going to start giving you listings that are local. So your local SEO is super important. So you really got to pay attention to that. And again, I could go on. I could do a whole hour plus of each of these of how to do these effectively. And since we're doing this for about 40 more days, you may actually see that content. So you're going to get it all. I'll tell you, if you could just get get your MBA watching this. No, you don't believe it? Keep watching. You'll get it. So next one, cold emails. So another way to get awareness is by you sending cold email. Now, the reason it's called cold is because it is awareness. It means somebody's never heard of you before, so you're coldly communicating to them. So this is some of the most, you think about interruption. You're not just interrupting me when I'm skimming through Instagram. You're interrupting my life, right? Like I'm just trying to do my job and you're sending me these emails and I don't know you and I don't want this. Or like the next one we're talking about, cold calls. You're calling me, you're interrupting my day. Like it's the channel that's going to create the most resistance and the most opposition. But if you get it right, if you can figure out how to get cold email and cold calls to work right, it's almost like an unlimited supply of new attention, right? And obviously this is going to apply to businesses that have a bigger ticket, right? Their per purchase price is higher. Because like if you're selling, if you're selling whatever, sneakers, right? Like that's not going to, you can't just pick up the phone and cold call. Right. And that's where like another thing to cold email, cold call, again, I told you this was ish. It's kind of like direct mail. All right. Direct mail, but that would be a paid media. I could have put that in there. I forgot direct mail. Direct mail, you're sending mail to a massive list. Right. And so if you have a product that the masses, right, most people wear shoes. Right. So if most people wear shoes, you got a good chance if you send your ad out to everybody that people are going to and be like, oh, I have feet. That could be interesting to me. At least you're there, right? Where like for me, if I direct mailed, all of DFW about advocacy marketing, people are like, who are you? What are you talking about? I don't even know what that means, right? So for me, the approach of like cold media, cold emails, cold calls, because I can do various ways of coming up with lists of home services businesses and professional services businesses and people in different things. And there's technology and tools and lists that I can get where I can get the owner's information, the phone number, and then I have a team that creates scripts, and then we're sending emails and we're picking up the phone and we're getting their attention. And again, it's an abrasive thing. Like, I don't know who you are. I don't want to talk to you. So you've got to be really good, really, really, really good at getting their attention, getting them a value proposition, helping them understand that you can, that you know their problem and you can solve their problem. And when you dial that in, everything changes, and that's a big part of our story. Like when, I got to hire a VP of sales, Steve, he got to really dial it in, and when that's dialed in, things change. And so you got to get that stuff dialed in. Cold email, cold calls are a great way of drumming up new business, but you got to know what you're doing. You gotta know what you're doing. Yep. So with cold emails, cold calls, how do you figure out you know what you're doing? You split test. Again, everything's about testing, right? I sent 50% this email, I sent 50% this other email. I use this script when I call, they use this script when I call. Which one gets more appointments? Which of those appointments turned into demos? Which of those demos turned into sales, and so on, right? So you got to keep moving the process along. You got to keep learning and iterating. And so it's earned, right? I'm not just paying for it. Even though I might have bought the list, I have to apply the effort into it. I'm earning that attention. I'm earning that business. I'm earning that process, right? All right. So I think we came up with a couple others, 10, 11, 10 and a half, 8. No, I just went through one. Buy search traffic, buy social traffic, affiliate marketing, and influencers, which I called one. It could have been 2. Sponsorships. And then I talked about direct mail for a second. Social media, SEO, cold email, cold calls. Yeah, I'm 11, 12. 9-ish. I'm at 9-ish. Last one. I already mentioned this a little bit, but I'm gonna repeat it again. The best way, I believe, to get new people to know who you are is by empowering the people who know you to recommend you. And we would call that referrals or advocacy marketing. Now, referrals probably already happen in your business a lot, like you probably happen, but there's certain marketing that you can do that actually encourages and expands that possibility, right? And so the way that you market to your current customers, you can turn your current customers into an army of people that are going out advocating for your behalf. And think about it. You know this already. A referral is the best business that you can get. And why? Because somebody else, by them recommending you, they're giving that person, they're making you be aware that you exist, but they're also automatically having affinity, like they like you, and they already have more of a belief that you can solve their problems because you did it for somebody else that they know. And the quality of the individual that gives the referral, the quality of you know that already, right? You get your best customers when they're referring people. It's really easy to close more business. It's really easy. The sales process is easier. They spend more money and everything, right? So what's funny is that the best thing for awareness is actually advocacy. And that's another reason why we super promote advocacy marketing. I'm not against any of those other tactics. Again, if it's profitable, it works. I do a lot of the cold stuff, things like that. But ultimately, you need to have an advocacy machine because that's going to expand and encourage the activity of more referrals. And that's the best place that you can be. And so when you have a whole army of customers, that's where you create like a viral-like business. All right, you got business coming out of nowhere and you have no idea where it came from because of that type of thing, right? So that was the 9-ish ways to do awareness level marketing. If there is one thing, whatever you're doing, whether you're buying it, you're earning it, you got to know your numbers, right? You got to track. Because, you can have a great idea. You can get advice from me, you can get advice from somebody else, but ultimately it's the data that dictates what's working or not. The data tells you how things are working, and you got to focus on the data and then just always try to get improvement, right? Always optimize and improve your actions. So this is Billy Robbins. I hope you enjoyed our live today. We will be back tomorrow, 5 p.m. Central Time, for another Intent Company Live. Thank you guys. Have an amazing night, and we will see you all tomorrow, 5 p.m. All right. Thank you all. Take care.